How long I've been waiting for this. Woo, I'm about to make a name for myself here.
Hey everybody, welcome to Now It's Dark. I'm Jim. I just got back from watching the movie Blink Twice. Lucky enough to have a extended weekend starting on Friday, which is when I watched this Friday afternoon. Blink Twice is a 2024 film directed by Zoe Kravitz, and this movie wasn't necessarily on my radar because the plot kind of seemed a little familiar. Um, but I'll tell you what, because Channing Tatum was in this, and then I saw Kyle MacLachlan was in this, and Geena Davis. I really started to think, that's and Christian Slater is in this. Like the cast, and I love Zoe Kravitz. Um, Grew up with her father's music. Was a big fan of that as well. And so there was a lot of things drawing me closer to this movie, and I just had the afternoon free and just went to my local theater. I'm glad I didn't go to one of the real big theaters because this is a movie that you don't necessarily need to see on IMAX or in like a big theater. And there was only just a handful of people in the theater because I saw it like early in the day. That's my thing. Try to go to matinees. But this is a psychological thriller, mystery thriller, not horror necessarily, but there are definitely some intense moments in this. I mean, they're not intense, but there's tense moments of suspension. And it's an interesting story. It's about Channing Tatum's character Slater. He's a billionaire and he meets cocktail waitress Frida at his fundraising gala. He invites her to join him and his friends on a dream vacation on his private island. As strange things start to happen, Frida questions her reality. And so this is a weird synopsis for the movie. Um, I may get kind of spoiler-ish. I'm going to be like right on the fringe because it's hard because again, like the plot isn't on its surface very different from other types of films where we have a bride who or fiance who goes and meets a family and then things go awry when she finds out the family wants to hunt her, or uh, movies like that, or like Get Out, where you kind of go to a function and then realize you are there because of the event itself and the hidden agenda. And that's kind of like the bottom line thing that's going on here. There's some tweaks to it that make it a little on its own, which are nice. Um, but I'll tell you what, this probably came out at the perfect time for Channing Tatum coming off of the Deadpool and Wolverine hype. Like I think this is perfectly timed because it literally, I was like, I want to see Channing Tatum. I don't think I've seen enough movies that he's been in that I could even count on one hand. So now I've seen twice in 22 movies in 2024. And so, like I said, Zoe Kravitz was the director. She also shares writing credits with E.T. Baum. I'm sure I pronounced that wrong. Frida, our main uh, character, Naomi Aki. Christian Slater, again, is in it as a character named Vic. Channing Tatum, again, I've already mentioned, is Slater. Frida has a friend named Jess, played by Alia Shawkat, and she'll be recognizable. She was in that TV series. Now I'm going to have to look that up, but she was in a TV series. Simon Rex is recognizable. He plays character Cody. Haley Joel Osment is in this. Um, the third main female character, Adria Arjona, plays Sarah. She kind of comes into being a more predominant character toward the end of the film. Kyle MacLachlan plays Rich. Love Kyle MacLachlan, and he looks great. He plays this character very well. He's a psychiatrist. And Geena Davis is playing a character named Stacy, and Stacy's like Slater's uh, assistant. I would say that that's what she is, and she has a neat arc too. So there's things like when you start watching this, it's a very slow burn. You know, you're introduced to Frida and her friend Jess, and again, they're at this gala event for Slater, um, and we find out that Slater has kind of stepped back from his tech company. He's not the man in charge. He's kind of taken a retreat. He had to have done something. They don't really go into detail what it was, but he's apologizing during an interview for his acts and that he has really changed. And, you know, he's being philanthropic with his money and donating to charities to show his repentance for whatever it is that he did. I'm sure it was very nasty. And so through the event of that gala, Frida and Slater kind of bump into each other and they share some moments, and it seems like this brewing love story could be happening. She's obviously very taken with him, and the viewer of you is like, well, obviously there's something going on with Slater because you have to have the antagonist, and you immediately know that it's going to be Kim, and but you're kind of like taken into the relationship building of this one night. And by the end of the night, they're very seemingly smitten with each other. Smitten is a word that old people use, and I am. So I did. And so Slater's crew, consisting of Vic and Cody and Tom, they're all getting ready to go. There's a character named Lucas. I forgot to mention him. Um, the night is over. Geena Davis Stacy's like prompting, we got to go. And we find out that he's going to his private island that he has just recently bought to take his retreats and reform himself. And then very quickly, last minute, Slater invites Frida and Jess to go with them. And apparently Frida and Jess just can stop doing their job because they were waitresses there, I think. Wasn't that what Frida Gala, well, whatever. Oh yeah, cocktail waitresses. So they just don't have to clock out. I guess they just get on a jet, and they don't have to call into work or anything the next day. And so they end up on this island. And um, so something that stands out to me in every modern horror thriller movie, um, where there's going to be moments of why don't we just call for help. So they do the thing where everybody, once they get to the island, puts their phones in the bag, and the bag goes in the locked safe, and only one person has the combination. So that is like the elimination, and it's going to be a scene that's in like every horror movie going forward that I can think of. Um, and I don't know why it sticks out to me. I make a comment of it in every one of my videos. So apologies. But yeah, so this is a big party time. We are, like I said, slow burn. We're learning who's who and what's what. The film definitely directs us into a direction where we think that Jess and Frida are the newbies to the group, but later on we're going to find out differently of a lot of the characters, actually, more than you would suspect. And um, drugs involved, lots of champagne. Um, clothing is put out each day for Frida and Jess and the other women too. So they're all dressed in these beautiful white uh, wardrobes. And there's a lot of vibrant white throughout this movie, and then also a lot of red. And it's very interesting. I don't know why I picked up on that as well, but I think cinematography wise, this was filmed very, very well. I was very impressed with Zoe Kravitz style. I really, really liked it. Um, Lots of visualizations and probably had deeper meanings than I was able to comprehend. Again, with the note taking capability in a theater, it's very difficult to. So, like my note card, which would be normally really full, has a lot of just like one liners. When I get to the car, I write down things. I wrote down like perfume, vape, red gift bags. Those are all predominant things in this movie. Snakes. Why did there have to be snakes? Snakes play a little interesting plot device in this, especially with their venom. So Jess is a smoker, and she seemed to be the only one with the lighter on the island. And throughout the first, the second act when they're on the island, they're smoking a lot of blunts, big fat blunts, and randomly people would be asking, "Does anyone have a lighter?" And she would have it. But then slowly, as we keep getting like these, each day goes by, they had to have been there for over a week because they just kind of kept showing like the same sequence of events, but then little subtle tweaks were done to give you the viewer like the insight that something's happening in between, but nobody's acknowledging it because people had bruises or black eyes or dirt under their fingernails that they don't know how it got there, but nobody's questioning it. Nobody's really bringing it up until Jess does. She opens up to Frida and says, "Something's wrong. This doesn't feel right. Don't you feel like things are weird?" And at this time, Frida is still very much smitten with Slater. And I don't know why that's making me laugh, but I'm going to keep using that word. Um, yeah, so inside my head, I'm thinking, okay, Jess is obviously going to be the first person to go missing or be killed or something. So that's not hard to figure out either. But then that just escalates Frida's awareness of that something does seem to be going on. Now, in the meantime, during that first introduction between Frida and Slater, Slater does introduce her to Kyle MacLachlan, who's his psychiatrist, and they have a funny exchange that gets played out a couple more times. And again, it's tweaked a little differently because memory seems to be an issue. And there's a conversation that just kind of is done casually that really explains a lot at the end between Frida and Slater about repressed memories and memory therapy and things of that nature. So, um, yeah, I don't want to give too much more away, but this was a very thrilling movie. There's some good tense moments, and for me, Channing Tatum played an excellent character. The whole cast is good. It's a fun movie. Um, I hope it does well. I'm not sure even what kind of budget this had, but it's shot on a very beautiful location on some island. I'm trying to see if there's any information about the budget was estimated at $20 million. So I got to think that a lot of that budget went to Channing Tatum, Geena Davis, Kristen Slater, Kyle MacLachlan, uh, Haley Joel Osment maybe got a little sliver compared to everybody else, but it's a really good movie, fun. If you like those kind of movies where, like I said, like Get Out and whatever that one movie was with the woman who looks like Margot Robbie in the wedding dress, and she's like fighting off the family. I can't remember what the name of that is. Leave that in the comments down below if you want. But this is a fun movie. I don't know that you necessarily have to see it in a theater. This will be good when it comes to streaming for sure. It'll definitely be one of those good streaming watches. But I enjoyed it. I'm glad that I had the afternoon free to see this. Um, so yeah, blink twice. Let me know in the comments down below if you've seen it, what you think. And oh yeah, the cover photo has that Polaroid camera, and that definitely is a plot thing that goes on quite a bit through the movie. And Christian Slater's character actually is the one that uses that most often. I know this movie poster shows Channing Tatum using it, but I don't think I remember him using it. But then again, memory, it eludes me at some points, and that's a theme in this movie as well.